the year when my boyfriend was at his poorest. I suggested we break up. Later, after he achieved success and fame, he used every means to marry me. Everyone said that I was his first love, his most cherished wife. But later, every night he brought home different women, breaking my heart and turning me into a laughingstock among our circles. I didn't cry or make a fuss. I quietly lived in the study, never interfering with his affairs. He was furious, kissing me harshly, and asked in a low voice, "Aren't you jealous?" He didn't know I was sick. While he was busy exacting his revenge every day, I was silently counting down the days I had left. Chapter 1. In the third year of my marriage to Simon, he began to keep a young and beautiful college student. The girl's name was Zoe. She looked innocent and cute, exactly Simon's type. Simon had been keeping her for over half a year. Aside from me, she was the woman who stayed with Simon the longest. Friends warned me to be careful. They all said that Simon seemed to have real feelings for Zoe. The first time I saw Zoe was on my birthday. I had a nosebleed in the morning and went to the hospital for a checkup. The doctor said I would probably only live until next spring. I nodded lightly and said softly, "It's okay." I wasn't afraid of death, but I did fear the pain. I heard there was a very expensive medication that could make my remaining days more comfortable. The money in my bank card wasn't enough, so I went to Simon's office to find him. I happened to see Zoe there. She had just graduated and was working as Simon's secretary. Simon was in a meeting, so I sat outside to wait. Zoe kept staring at me and whispered to her colleagues, "So she's the boss's wife? She's so ugly, all shriveled up. Looks like she's about to die. You all say I look like her. Where do I look like her? I'm much prettier." The shiny glass reflected my image, plain and makeup-free, wearing a bulky down jacket. I indeed didn't look good and, truth be told, was about to die. A colleague pulled Zoe aside, whispering, "It's just because she's not dressed up. If she put on makeup, 10 of you couldn't compare to her. And besides, don't provoke her just because the boss favors you. Don't you know how much the boss loves her? If you upset her, be careful or the boss might destroy you." Chapter 2. Hearing how much Simon loved me, Zoe pouted defiantly and rolled her eyes. She brought me a cup of tea and asked softly, "Sister Miranda, how could the boss bear to make you wait so long? How strange." Before, every time I came to find him, no matter how busy he was, he would always come to accompany me first. He said that I was the most important. I thought he was just as considerate with other women too. She smiled sweetly, her eyes curving, reminding me of myself when I was younger. I thought for a moment, indeed, Simon treated Zoe differently. He had countless lovers by his side, using them as tools to vent his anger towards me, bringing different women home each night, repeatedly testing my reaction. Simon never got entangled with them for long, maybe 1 or 2 days, maybe 10 days or half a month. He would always get bored quickly. But Zoe was different. Simon kept her outside, took her out for meals, shopping, and movies. They were like an ordinary couple deeply in love. Simon gave her money, and he also gave her love. I looked at Zoe, smiled at her, and gently asked, "Since you're so important, how could Simon bear to let you be the hidden mistress? You should talk to him. Ask him to divorce me sooner and marry you." Zoe's expression instantly changed. She became furious, lowering her voice to curse at me. "The one who isn't loved is the mistress. You're the one who's unnecessary. You only got here before me by a few years, but now you're old and ugly. What do you have to compete with me?" Perhaps her colleague was worried I'd get upset and hurried over to pull her arm, trying to take her away. Actually, I didn't mind. I had long since told myself not to get angry or feel sad for Simon, and certainly not to compete with other women over him. He wasn't worth it. Chapter 3. Zoe was pulled by someone, lost her balance, and fell to the ground, shattering the teacup she held. Her hand was deeply cut, and blood spilled all over the floor. Through the glass wall of the meeting room, Simon saw Zoe injured. Everyone watched as he dropped the documents in his hands, pushed open the door, and walked over, pulling Zoe into his arms. He cursed coldly. Who the hell hurt her? The well-meaning colleague stepped back 2 steps, her face turning pale with fright. I sneered. It was me, and she deserved it. Zoe glared at me through her tears, shouting loudly, "Yes, I deserved it. Who told me to fall in love with someone I shouldn't have? Everyone calls me a mistress, a lover. But Simon, as long as you love me too, I'll stay by your side forever. No one can separate me from you." She cried so adorably, and even saying something so absurd. She seemed brave and determined. Simon was amused by her. He raised his hand to wipe away her tears, coaxing her, "Be good. You look like a little crying kitten." He really treated her differently. I lowered my eyes, no longer interested in watching. I only said to Simon, "For my birthday this year, I want 500,000. It's funny, we are husband and wife, yet we don't even have each other's contact information, except when I need money. I never reach out to him." Before we got married, we made an agreement. He wanted me, and I wanted his money. Simon always hated me for being a gold digger, but in the past, as long as I asked, no matter how much, he would always give it to me, and more, except for this time. He looked at me with a cold smile, and slowly said, "You want money? Fine, but, Miranda, first lower that noble head of yours and apologize to Zoe." Simon wanted to buy my dignity for 2 million, to buy an apology for Zoe. This was the first time he used money to humiliate me for the sake of another woman. I clenched my fists slowly and smiled faintly, enduring the sudden wave of pain in my body. I turned and left. I didn't want the money anymore. I suddenly wondered, Simon, if one day you knew that this money could let me live a little longer, if you knew how much I suffered before dying, what would your expression be? Chapter 4. I went home alone, curling up painfully in bed, covered in a cold sweat from the pain. After taking some sleeping pills, I lied to myself. Once asleep, it wouldn't hurt anymore. In a daze, I had a dream of when I was 20 years old, when Simon was poor but loved me so very much. That year, on my birthday, I passed by a coffee shop and saw a couple sitting by the window. The girl had a small, white cake in her hands. It looked exquisite, delicious, and expensive. I still remember. It was snowing heavily that day. I held a small heap of snow in my hands, smiling at Simon, and asked him, "Simon, look at the snow, doesn't it look like a cake?" Simon bit his lip, pulled me into a tight embrace, hiding his reddening eyes from me. 3 days later, he appeared under my dorm with a big cake in his hands. Buying an entire cake cost 258 yuan, and he stood on the street in the snow and wind, handing out 3,000 flyers just to make 100 yuan. Seeing the chilblains on his fingers, I couldn't help but cry. I looked up at him and shouted, "Simon, your hands are meant for studying, for writing, not to be ruined just to make me happy." I said I didn't deserve such an expensive cake. Simon frowned and immediately contradicted me. He said, "Miranda, you're the best girl in the world. You deserve all the good things in this world." That day, I cried while eating the whole cake. After a long time, I can no longer remember how it tasted. I only know that after that day, I never had a cake as delicious as that one. I slept for a long time, and in my hazy state, I heard my phone ringing. I answered, and heard Simon's voice calling me, "Miranda." I smiled gently and called him sweetly, "Simon, it's snowing heavily. I want some cake." Without waiting for him to reply, I turned over and fell into a deep sleep again. Chapter 5. I slept until midnight, waking up from hunger. When I went to the living room to find something to eat, I found that Simon had come back. He bought Zoe a big house. They lived there together. Zoe would cook for him, make him happy, and wait for him to come home. Simon was doing well. He hadn't come back for a long time. He leaned lazily against the floor-to-ceiling window, a cigarette in his mouth, staring straight at me. I lowered my eyes, trying to pass by him, but he grabbed me. He frowned, and softly asked, "Why have you lost so much weight?" His tone was gentle, as if he still loved me. I was stunned for a moment, then forcefully shook his hand off, cursing at him. "Simon, what's wrong with you?" He looked at his empty hand, his expression slowly turning cold. When I got to the dining table and saw the cake covered with candles, I realized that the phone call wasn't a dream. I said I wanted cake, and Simon bought one. What is this? A peace offering? But I'm already dying. I no longer need a cake, nor do I need Simon. I grabbed the cake and threw it into the trash. Simon gritted his teeth, pushed me against the wall, and cursed viciously. Miranda, are you messing with me? I laughed and admitted. Simon, yes, I'm messing with you. So what? I said I wanted cake. And you bought one. Why are you still as pathetic as you were before? I deliberately stabbed him in the heart, watching as Simon's expression turned completely cold. He stubbed out the cigarette harshly, dragged me into the bedroom, and threw me onto the bed. Simon must have been furious. He was like a wild beast out of control, roughly tearing off my nightgown. I got scared and punched him. Simon, you bastard. Don't touch me. You disgust me. He clamped down on my legs, preventing me from struggling, then lowered his head and bit my neck. The pain-making tears streamed down my face. He cursed into my ear. Miranda, would it kill you to just give in for once? Do you even know how long I've been waiting for you to come and comfort me? Do you know how happy I was when you said you wanted cake? And then you went ahead and made a fool out of me? He raised his head, staring at me with bloodshot eyes. I held back my tears, glaring back at him. In the dimly lit room, neither of us spoke, neither willing to admit defeat first. Simon leaned down, getting closer and closer, almost about to kiss my lips, when suddenly, his phone rang. It was Zoe calling. Simon paused, then answered it. I heard Zoe crying, asking him, Simon, are you really leaving me for Miranda? You clearly like me. I'm at a bar now. I've had a lot to drink, and there's a man harassing me. I'm so scared. Please, come pick me up and take me home, okay? Simon didn't say anything. He just stared at me, smirking coldly, and softly ordered, Miranda, beg me to stay. As long as you beg, I won't leave. He seemed to have forgotten. A long time ago, I had already swallowed my pride and begged him, Simon, can we talk calmly just once? Can we stop fighting? Can we be together peacefully? Can you be a little kinder to me? That day, Simon stared at me coldly, smiling as he said, Miranda, you're not worthy. Those 3 words have been lodged in my heart ever since, and today, I can finally return them to him, word for word. I grabbed his collar, and said slowly, Simon, you're not worthy. Simon was silent for a moment, then suddenly laughed at himself. He put the phone to his ear and said to Zoe, I'll come pick you up. Without looking at me again, he got up and slammed the door behind him as he left. Chapter 6. The next day. Photos of Simon getting into a fight with another man over Zoe spread throughout our social circles. It was the first time his affairs with another woman had become public knowledge. There were a few reporters at the door when I went out. They surrounded me, bombarding me with questions. Simon's company had grown rapidly in recent years, and he held considerable power in the Beijing circle. He was young, wealthy, and handsome, and was quite popular online, frequently trending. A girl asked me, Madam, do you have any comments about your husband and Zoe? I kept walking forward without looking back, responding sarcastically. One is a man who cheated during his marriage, and the other is a woman who knowingly became the mistress. What exactly do you want me to say? The girl chased after me and continued asking, but I heard that back then, when Mr. Simon was at his poorest, you dumped him for money. Then, when he became successful, you used emotional blackmail and every means possible to marry him. And now that Simon has found true love, he and Zoe are a perfect match. Yet you insist on holding on to the title of his wife, calling the others the mistress. Don't you think you're the one bullying people here? I stopped, sneered, and looked at her, grabbing the work ID hanging around her neck. She was an intern reporter, and on the back of her work ID holder, there was a student ID from Nanshan University. I asked her calmly, You're Zoe's friend, aren't you? Back then, Simon went to all lengths to marry me. You think I was dying to marry him? Everyone in our circle knows about it. But you don't? Or are you here to slander me just to help your friend become the official wife? Her expression changed. She panicked and snatched back her work ID, defensively saying, Yes, I am her friend, but I am also a journalist. What I say is objective and fair. If you really didn't want to marry Simon, then now that he loves someone else, why not divorce him? I smiled, just about to respond when I suddenly started having a nosebleed, looking rather disheveled. Someone laughed at me, saying, "You say you don't care, that you were forced to marry Simon, but now you're so worked up you're bleeding from your nose?" I stretched out my fingers and wiped the blood from my lips. I said calmly, "I'm not worked up. I'm just sick, dying soon, and lately, I've been having nosebleeds all the time." Suddenly, the crowd went silent, and no one laughed anymore. Only that girl continued, "Stop pretending. You're acting sick and pitiful just because of a nosebleed. I really can't stand women like you, pretending to be on the verge of death every day just to steal a man, using shameless tricks, giving us women a bad name." She said her piece and walked away, her ponytail swinging behind her. Her back looked just as detestable as Zoe's. Chapter 7. The video of me being surrounded and interviewed by reporters soon went viral. Simon responded publicly, saying, "I will never divorce her. Stop bothering my wife." That same afternoon, Zoe's reporter friend was fired. Many people online cursed at me, "This woman is disgusting. If she didn't want to marry, then don't," acting like someone held a knife to her throat, forcing her to marry, pretending she had no choice. They say she's Simon's first love, but I think she's just a hypocritical B*TCH pretending to be pure. Simon defends her so much. I'm jealous. Plus, this woman dumped Simon for money, and now she's married him for money again. She says she doesn't want to, she's just pretending to be noble. She wants to play the victim while acting like a gold digger. Suddenly, a user interjected, "All of you shut your filthy mouths. If you don't know the truth, then just shut the F***ck up." Everyone started chasing after him, asking what the truth was. This story, really, is quite a common one. That year, my mom was diagnosed with a terminal illness. The doctor said that this type of illness has a very high chance of being hereditary. Not only could I fall seriously ill at any time, but if I were to marry and have children, my child would also likely be at risk of inheriting the disease. The day my mom had her first episode, she bled an entire basin of blood from her nose. She lost so much blood that she was in a coma for 3 days. When she woke up, she told me to break up with Simon. I stared blankly at her and whispered, "Mom, he wouldn't abandon me," as if speaking to my mom, and also to myself. My mom gently held my hand and nodded, saying, "I know, he's a good boy." She paused, then smiled and said, "You two started dating in high school, and every morning he waited for you at the alley on his bicycle. You think I didn't know? One time I saw him buy a meat-filled flatbread for you to have as breakfast. He had 12 yuan in his pocket. The flatbread cost 10 yuan, and he bought 2 cups of soy milk with the remaining 2 yuan, one for him and one for you. You were greedy and clueless back then, and he lied to you, saying he'd already eaten, and you believed him eating that flatbread so happily. Simon was so pitiful back then. His parents divorced, and neither of them wanted him. He only got a small allowance every month, living like an orphan. 12 yuan, probably his entire daily allowance. He didn't even hesitate to spend it all on you. At that moment, I thought, my girl is lucky to have found such a good boy. He was good at studying, a good person, he was good in every way. It's because he's so good that mom feels sorry for him. That year, Simon's grandmother also fell ill and was hospitalized. He grew up with her, and they were very close. To pay for her treatment, Simon was overwhelmed, trying to take care of everything. My mom said Simon's wings were too fragile. If he carried his grandmother, and carried me too, he'd never be able to fly. I clenched my hands, and after a long time, my voice trembled as I said, "Mom, I can't let him go." With those words, tears fell like rain. Chapter 8. The events of 10 years ago still make my heart ache when I think about them. I bought Mom's favorite persimmons, planning to go to the cemetery to see her one last time. I'm dying, and I need to let her know that after this, I won't be coming anymore. Before I went, I stopped by Simon's company to get something from him. Back when Mom was still alive, she really liked Simon. That year, she wasn't sick yet, and Simon and I were still deeply in love. Mom went to the temple to pray and got us 2 blessing dolls. Inside one, a boy doll. She hid Simon's birthday. And inside the other, a girl doll. She hid my birthday. To protect our safety, our health, and to ensure that those who love each other stay together forever. Mom asked me to give Simon his blessing doll. Simon refused to take his doll, insisting instead on taking mine. He said the doll with the red-cheeked girl looked just like me, silly and cute. He said when he saw her, it was like seeing me. He loved seeing me. That blessing doll is still on Simon's desk to this day. I was worried that after I died, Simon would throw it away like garbage. It was something Mom bought for me, and I had to take it back to place it by her gravestone, to keep her company in my stead. When I arrived at the company, Simon was watching the video from that morning, the one where I had a nosebleed and said I was dying. When he saw me, he threw his phone aside, without saying anything or asking any questions. I looked at his desk, and the place where the blessing doll had originally been was now empty. I frowned and asked him, "Where's my blessing doll?" Chapter 9. Zoe followed me over and, hearing me asking for something, smiled sweetly and said, "A few days ago, I accidentally hurt my hand, and Simon felt so sorry for me. He said he couldn't bear to see me hurt, so he gave me that blessing doll. He also said that the doll looked a lot like me, silly, but he likes it a lot." Sister Miranda, do you think he's lying? I'm so pretty. There's no way I look like such an ugly doll. I clenched my fists tightly, glaring at Simon and questioning him. How dare you give my things to someone else? That was a blessing my mom got for me. How dare you give it away? He smiled, his expression infuriating as he said, "That blessing doll was yours? Sorry. I forgot. I thought it was just some worthless thing." Before he could finish, I picked up the ashtray on the table and hurled it at him. Simon didn't dodge. The crystal ashtray hit his forehead, drawing blood. Zoe screamed, cursing at me. "Are you crazy? Hitting someone over a stupid doll?" She turned and ran out, quickly returning with my blessing doll in her hand. She threw the doll at me, yelling, "Here's your stupid thing back. A worthless piece of junk that no one cares about. You think I want it? Stop going crazy. Take your stuff and get out." The porcelain blessing doll fell to the ground, shattering into pieces. I saw my name and my birthday broken into many parts, just like my life, probably beyond repair. Suddenly, I felt that I really might die. But I don't want to die yet. I haven't seen my mom. I'm afraid that if she doesn't see me, she'll keep waiting for me. My head buzzed, and I raised my hand and slapped Zoe, screaming like a madwoman. That was my mother's thing. I care. I do care. Before I could finish, tears started falling. I reached out to grab Zoe, but Simon caught my wrist, stopping me. My eyes felt hot, and I stared at him, crying and then laughing through my tears. I cursed at him. "You know I'm dying, and you still bully me. Simon, you're truly a piece of sh*t." He wiped away my tears and shot back. "First it was the cake, then you're dying, Miranda. Do you think it's fun to play with me like this? There's no point in crying for me. I won't care for you anymore." Before he could finish, a drop of blood suddenly fell, landing on the back of his hand. I had another nosebleed, and this time it was even worse than before. My legs went weak, and the pain made it impossible for me to stand. I collapsed. Simon caught me, shouting, "Call an ambulance." He was powerless, forced to watch as more and more of my blood flowed, staining his white shirt red. Chapter 10. I was in a daze, hearing Simon crying, asking over and over again, "Why won't the bleeding stop? Please. Stop bleeding, Miranda. Please. Don't scare me." I smelled the antiseptic from the hospital. I heard the doctor speaking to Simon. She could have lived until next spring, or maybe even longer. But she said she didn't have money, so she stopped treatment. Now her condition is out of control. "There's no point in continuing treatment," Simon retorted. "So you're telling me my wife is about to die?" Before the doctor could respond, he raised his voice, shouting angrily, "I want my wife to live. If you can treat her, then do it. If not, get lost and find someone who can." That day, Simon almost tore the hospital room apart. He called in countless expert teams, saying that no matter how much it cost, he wanted me to live. But with terminal illnesses, money isn't enough to cure them. Simon was stubborn, refusing to listen to anything. He wanted to take me out of the hospital and bring me abroad for treatment. He had money and power, and no one dared to stop him when he made a scene at the hospital. Until my best friend, Lily, showed up with my living will. A long time ago, I had it notarized, entrusting her with all my decisions. I said that if one day I ended up bedridden, unable to move, eat, or drink, then let me go. Don't make me suffer any longer. She knew I feared pain the most. Lily slapped Simon across the face, pointing at his nose as she cursed. You have money, where the hell were you earlier? Acting all powerful now. Simon, it's too late. It's too late. She's dying. You're not taking her anywhere. Wherever I am, that's where she'll be. Simon stared blankly at the will in Lily's hand. After a long while, I heard him, his voice choked with tears, saying softly, Lily, let me take her. I'm begging you. Believe me, she can survive this. She can. She won't die. If she dies, what will I do? Lily looked at him calmly, cursing coldly. A man with a heart of stone like you will live just fine without her. Stop pretending to be devoted. You're just disgusting yourself and everyone else. She pushed Simon away, sat down by my bed, and held my hand. As soon as she opened her mouth, tears started to fall. She asked me, do you really not want to live anymore? Her tears made me sad too, and I wished I could lift my hand to wipe them away, to tell her not to worry about me. I'm just going to sleep, a long, long sleep. Once I sleep, it won't hurt anymore. She asked again, can you wake up one more time, please? You said that saying a proper goodbye means there'll be no regrets when you leave. You haven't said goodbye to your mom. Haven't said goodbye to me. How can you just leave? My tears fell along with hers. Suddenly, the heart monitor began beeping, and the doctor hurriedly asked Lily to keep talking to me. He said there were signs that I might wake up. That day, Lily held my hand, not even daring to drink water, talking to me the whole time. She cried, then laughed, alternating between them. It was quite terrifying. I originally thought I might as well die, but with her going on like that, it felt inappropriate not to wake up to comfort her. I fought against my broken body, and finally, in the middle of the night, I opened my eyes. Chapter 11. For more than half a month after I woke up, Lily stayed by my side without leaving even once. She took care of me obsessively, feeding me, accompanying me to the bathroom almost to the point of wanting to help me take off my pants. I felt anxious, wanting to get better soon. If this continued, Lily would end up going crazy. When she wasn't in the room, I tried going to the bathroom by myself, without anyone supporting me. I found that I could walk just fine, but after using the bathroom, my legs suddenly gave out as I was coming out. I fell to the ground, hitting my face on the sink, my face covered in blood. I struggled to get up and accidentally pulled down the cloth covering the bathroom mirror. I looked up to see a terrifying face. Simon rushed in, pulling me into his arms, preventing me from looking any further. In a low voice, he cursed. I just went to pay the bill. And Lily, where the hell did she go? Useless. I couldn't push him away, so I frowned and interrupted him. Stop talking badly about Lily in front of me. I don't want to hear it. She has her own life, her family, her job, not like me, aimlessly getting into trouble every day, always bothering her. Simon closed his mouth and said nothing more. He grabbed a lot of tissues to wipe the blood off my face, and as he saw the patches of blood, his eyes turned red. Pretending to be calm, he asked, "Why didn't you tell me sooner that you were sick? What's the point of having a mouth if you don't use it? You could have gotten better, you know that. Miranda, why did you have to be so stubborn and end up like this?" I said calmly, "Because I don't need you. I don't need your care, and I don't need your company. So whether you knew I was sick or not, it doesn't matter to me." In truth, I never deliberately kept my illness from Simon. My medical report was right there on the table, easy for anyone to see, but he never glanced at it. During those days when I gradually grew thinner, Zoe appeared by his side. That girl was younger, prettier, more likable than I was. Simon stayed out all night for her, night after night, so he never saw me fall to the ground countless times, in agonizing pain, crying as I called the doctor in fear, begging for help. Simon carried me to the bed, and as he bent over, a tear fell onto my face. He turned away, mocking me. Yeah, Miranda, you're so impressive, dumping me whenever you wanted, kicking me out when you felt like it. I know you don't need me. Fine. You don't need me. After a long time, his voice choked up as he continued. But I need you. I didn't respond, closing my eyes, pretending to be asleep. Chapter 12. Simon still doesn't know why I broke up with him back then. On the day he became successful and came back for me, saying he wanted to marry me and take me home. I originally intended to tell him everything. I owed him a proper explanation. I wanted to tell him that all those harsh words I said when we broke up were lies. He was wonderful. He deserved the best girl in the world. They would have a happy family, healthy children, with no poverty or disease weighing them down. But that girl wasn't me. I couldn't marry Simon. I was afraid that if one day I became terminally ill, he would cry for me. I couldn't bear that. But before I could say anything, he interrupted me forcefully, with a cigarette between his teeth. He gave me a cold smile and said, Miranda, when I say I want to marry you, it's not a negotiation. You'd better be grateful and accept it. He said he didn't want to hear my explanations. He said that since I made him feel so much pain, he would make me hurt even more. That would be fair. Looking at his face, he suddenly felt so unfamiliar to me. Maybe all the love my mom and I gave him was just one-sided. Maybe that year, I should have held on to him tightly, made him restless, burdened by the weight of poverty. I used to be so foolish that even I pitied myself. So I didn't say anything. I just said I wouldn't marry him, and we should part on good terms. Simon threatened me. I heard that Lily used to work in a club, accompanying guests for drinks, right? She's pretty lucky to have found herself a decent boyfriend. What do you think, if that guy found out Lily used to be a hostess? Would he still want her? I was trembling with anger. I slapped Simon across the face, calling him a bastard. He pressed his tongue against his cheek, smiling as he grabbed my chin, saying, Miranda, to get back at you, I can do even worse things. If you don't believe me, you can try. Simon was ruthless. I didn't dare try. I was afraid of ruining the good life Lily had fought so hard for. I could only convince myself my life was already a mess. Wherever it ended up wouldn't make a difference. If I had to marry him, then so be it. This revenge went on for a long time. So long that by the time Simon got tired of playing and wanted to make amends, I no longer loved him. Chapter 13. I couldn't hide the fact that I'd hurt myself and looked like a swollen mess from Lily. She was furious. And for the next 2 days, no matter what I did, she scolded me for it. I cried after she scolded me, hiding under the covers and shouting, You're so good at scolding people, always bullying me. If you're so capable, take me to see my mom. You definitely wouldn't out-argue her. Lily stayed silent for a long time. After a while, she gently patted my hair, comforting me. Once you're better, I'll take you to see your mom, okay? I knew she was lying, and I knew that I wouldn't get better, but I didn't want her to worry, so I smiled and nodded, saying, okay. I started trying even harder to recover, taking lots of medicine, getting injections until my arms were bruised all over, but I didn't complain about the pain anymore. Simon watched from the side, gritting his teeth as he slammed the door and left. At night, I heard him arguing with Lily. Miranda wants to see her mom. Don't you understand that? What's wrong with letting her go just once? Lily cursed at him. I think you're just hoping she dies sooner. You bastard, you think she's been alive too long. Getting in the way of your mistress taking over. Is that it? I wiped away my tears in secret, hating myself. Living had turned me into a burden, making things so hard for Lily. Chapter 14. I stopped insisting on going to see my mom, but my spirits slowly started to fade. I began to sleep more, staying awake less and less. I thought, it's time to say a proper goodbye to Lily. Maybe it was my last burst of energy, But over the next few days, though my body hurt more, I felt mentally sharper. Maybe it was because she heard I was recovering well. Zoe couldn't sit still any longer. When Simon wasn't around, she came to the hospital to see me. The moment Lily saw her, she cursed. "We don't allow sluts and dogs here. You better leave right now, or I'll beat you so bad even your mom won't recognize you." But Zoe was different this time. She suddenly knelt by my bed, crying as she begged me, "Sister Miranda, I'm pregnant with Simon's child. You're dying soon. I beg you to be a good person just once and give my child's father back to me." She was 3 months pregnant, and I had been sick for 3 months. So Simon, while telling me he needed me, turned around and was losing himself in pleasure with another woman. Of course, what did he need with a dying woman? He was just lying to me. Fortunately, I didn't believe him. Zoe cried, reaching out to grab my arm. I was too weak and almost got pulled off the bed. Lily protected me, getting several scratches in the process. Suddenly, someone grabbed Zoe by the hair and pulled her away. Simon, teeth clenched as if he wanted to tear Zoe apart, cursed viciously. "Didn't I tell you? If you dare come after my wife again, I'd kill you?" Zoe's expression changed, and just as she was about to speak, Lily picked up a pillow and threw it at their faces, breaking down as she shouted, "Get this B***TCH out of here." Chapter 15. Simon dragged Zoe away, telling me to wait for him and listen to his explanation. Who would wait for him? I didn't care at all. Lily looked down at me, asking quietly, "Miranda, are you okay? Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere?" I held my chest, pretending to be in pain, and whined, "My heart hurts, only going shopping will make it better." She smiled at me in exasperation and, seeing that I was in good spirits recently, agreed to take me out. I bought a roasted sweet potato and took it into her car. She's always been a clean freak and never allowed anyone to eat in her car. But since I was a patient, I took full advantage, eating in her car and dropping crumbs of sweet potato on the seat. Lily clenched her teeth, pretending not to see it. I directed her to drive to a high-end bridal shop. She was going to get married in the spring, but I knew I probably wouldn't be around for it. I wanted to see her in a wedding dress. She didn't ask why I brought her here. She just followed me inside with tears in her eyes. We were best friends. We understood each other without words. I picked out a strapless satin wedding dress for Lily. While she tried it on, I picked a bridesmaid dress for myself. Once I was dressed, I squeezed into her fitting room, and we took a picture together, as if I could still be there to send her off on her big day. I had good taste. Lily looked stunning in the wedding dress. I asked her if she wanted to buy it. She rolled her eyes at me and whispered, "Buy it? Are you crazy? It's ridiculously expensive. Just take a few more pictures." I smiled, letting her stay in the fitting room to admire herself while I went out and quietly paid for it. She's the best girl in the world. She deserves the most beautiful wedding dress. Enduring the excruciating pain in my chest, I left the bridal shop and took a cab to the cemetery to see my mom. "Lily, this time it's really goodbye. No jokes. No tears allowed. Extra." After Miranda died, Simon often thought about it. What was she thinking when she signed the organ donation agreement? He never imagined that the day he pulled Zoe away would be the last time he saw Miranda. She looked at him and Zoe calmly, as if she didn't care at all. Like usual, whether he loved another woman or not. But he always felt that, in that moment, Miranda's heart truly died. So, she didn't wait for him to come back, and she didn't give him the chance to explain. Her body was taken by the hospital, and he couldn't even get a handful of her ashes. Miranda was truly ruthless. He began to regret not telling her at the time that Zoe was indeed pregnant. But the child wasn't his. That night at the bar, Zoe drank too much and was dragged into the bathroom and raped. By the time Simon arrived, it was already too late. Zoe was a master at playing the victim. She said she didn't know how to drink, and if it weren't for Simon making her upset, she would never have been in such a situation. Of course, Simon knew she was emotionally manipulating him, but seeing her cry so pitifully, he suddenly thought of Miranda. His heart softened. He helped put that scumbag in jail and gave her money for an abortion, but he couldn't give her anything more. He always thought Zoe was a good girl, though her temper was spoiled by him. At least she was obedient. He never expected he had been raising a greedy viper that would strike at him when he least expected it. He thought that Miranda must have hated him when she died. Then he thought, it was her who abandoned him in the first place. What right did she have to hate him? In his dreams, he would ask Miranda over and over, why did you break up with me back then? You did love me, didn't you? And in the next moment, Lily would shield Miranda, pointing at his nose and cursing. Where the hell were you back then? When she wanted to explain, you didn't listen. And now that she's gone, you come asking? Are you that pathetic? Then Simon would wake up from the dream. He wasn't afraid of Lily. He was afraid of hearing Miranda say that she hadn't loved him in a long time. He started having heart problems, and the doctor advised him not to be too upset. He said he wasn't. He felt quite calm. He had even started growing plants. On his balcony, there were succulents that Miranda had once taken care of. By the time he noticed them, they were all dead. He heard that succulents were resilient, and he wanted to see if he could bring them back to life. When he came home at night, he would squat in front of those succulents and talk to them. Once, on a sunny afternoon, he had seen Miranda doing the same. She hugged her knees, squatting there, and when she turned around, she saw him coming back with another woman. Simon slapped himself hard across the face. He began to rewrite his own memories, adding himself into all of Miranda's lonely moments. He would hold her tightly, kiss her gently, and be with her forever. Later, at a party, he beat up a man who had been cheating on his wife. Those so-called friends from the past cursed at him. Are you out of your damn mind? You were the one switching women every 3 days. And now you're calling us scum? Why don't you just go die yourself? He broke down, smashing the room and the club, shouting that they were all lying. He loved his wife the most, he knew that, until they pulled out a photo of him kissing Zoe, and he froze, leaving as if he were running away. He thought someone must have set him up. He needed to figure out how to explain it to his wife. He didn't want her to be angry. Anger was bad for her health. He rushed home, but as soon as he got off the elevator, he saw a pregnant woman standing at the door. He recognized her. She was the same woman from the photo. A wave of fear washed over him. Had this woman already found his wife? Had she said something and made his wife upset? He immediately grabbed her by the hair, dragging her into the stairwell, cursing viciously. Zoe, do you really have a death wish? He choked her, forcing her to step back, and step back, until Zoe lost her footing and fell down the stairs, watching the blood spread over the steps. Simon smiled. Perfect. Now, no one could ruin his relationship with Miranda anymore. 2 weeks later, Simon was sent to a psychiatric hospital. His behavior was mostly like a normal person's. The only strange thing was that he would talk to a broken Lucky doll, calling it his wife. That doll was in bad shape, patched up with glue, covered in cracks, with a missing piece on its chest, almost as if it lacked a heart. Simon always placed it beside his bed. Smiling at it, he would ask, "Honey, why haven't you come to see me yet? I miss you. And you? Do you miss me?" After a moment, his eyes would redden, and he'd murmur, "I forgot. A person without a heart doesn't know how to miss someone." He suddenly remembered, a long time ago, he had lost Miranda's heart.